Hello, my name is Ordagan, and I'm a postdoctoral research fellow at Stony Brook University and a clinical psychologist. In this short presentation, I would like to share with you results from our study based on a large 26-year longitudinal study subsample showing that the way adolescents represent the sequence of events following an emotionally distressful situation, also known as secure-based script knowledge, mediates the link between early parental sensitivity and depressive symptoms in adulthood. In this presentation, I will start by talking a little about parental insensitivity in early life and how it may lead to the development of depressive symptoms. Then I'll briefly touch on what secure-based script knowledge is and how it may play a mediating role in the link between early parental sensitivity and depressive symptoms later in life. Then I'll describe what we did in our study to assess such mediating role, and I'll end up by discussing both the theoretical and clinical implications of our study. So let us start by briefly discussing what we know about early parental insensitivity and its role in the development of later depressive symptoms. Thus far, literature has taught us that maternal insensitivity in early life leads to depressive symptoms later in life. For example, lack of parental sensitivity in early life, in the most extreme form of maltreatment, is associated with an elevated risk for developing recurrent and persistent depressive episodes in adulthood. Moreover, insecure attachment, another correlate of maternal insensitivity, leads to depression in children and adolescents. In one of the most famous longitudinal study in the field, that of the Minnesota Longitudinal Study of Risk and Adaptation, children who experienced more maternal insensitive care during infancy and childhood tended to report more depressive symptoms in adolescence compared to those who experienced sensitive care during these early stages. So the quality of early parental sensitivity significantly impacts depressive symptoms throughout life. However, the psychological mechanisms through which early caregiving experiences lead to individual differences in depressive symptoms are still unclear. And these mechanisms are especially interesting given that early insensitivity seems to influence depression way beyond the early childhood developmental stages, when the individual is no longer dependent on their parents solely and tend to develop other non-parental meaningful relationships. Attachment theory proposes that the way we represent our early experiences with our parents or primary caregivers play a significant role in our vulnerability to depressive symptoms later in life. In our study, we focused on scripted attachment representations, also known as secure-based script knowledge, as a potential mechanism that may mediate early parental insensitivity and later depressive symptoms. Secure-based script knowledge refers to the degree to which individuals show awareness of a schema that summarizes how one may seek and receive effective support from caregivers during times of need. This schema is thought to shape expectations and thus behaviors under distress. So for example, an individual with high secure-based script knowledge will know that at times of need, he or she will seek proximity from caregivers or signal for their support. And in return, they will receive instrumental response and, more importantly, emotional support that would eventually lead to a clear resolution of the distress. Now, given that depression is also influenced by one's inability to seek and receive support or effective support when under distress, it is believed that secure-based script knowledge variability may lead to differences in vulnerability to depressive symptoms. Importantly, secure-based script knowledge is thought to develop through repeated interactions with our parents throughout our early lives. When proximity seeking and signaling of distressed experiences are consistently followed by similar parental responses or lack thereof, individuals learn what to expect. In other words, If parents act as secure base, that is, they are consistently and effectively respond to soothe us as children when we need them, we learn to expect such sequence of events and perhaps have a high quality of secure base script knowledge. However, if our parents do not form a secure base for us and we do not have experiences of them as such, we may not fully form such a secure base script knowledge as we grow up. Indeed, research has shown that parental sensitivity in early life shapes secure base script knowledge in adolescence and adulthood. Parental sensitivity in the first 15 years of life, for example, shapes secure base script knowledge at age 18, and maternal sensitivity in the first 30 months of life shapes secure base script knowledge at age 23. Importantly, and in the context of this presentation, an independent line of research implies that scripted attachment representation may be linked to depression also in adulthood. For example, secure base script knowledge, as assessed via a doll play interview, was shown to be linked to internalizing symptoms, of which depressive symptoms is a major part of, at ages 6 to 8, as well as at age 10. Moreover, attachment representation that were assessed via the adult attachment interview and that were shown to be correlated with secure base script knowledge were meta-analytically shown to be associated with depressive symptoms in adolescence and adulthood. To date, however, no research has assessed the mediating role secure base script knowledge may play in the expected associations between early parental sensitivity and depressive symptoms in adulthood. Thus, in the present study, we set to assess exactly that. Namely, we tested whether and to what degree secure base script knowledge in late adolescence plays a mediating role in the link between early parental sensitivity with both mothers and fathers and adult depressive symptoms. Participants were 584 individuals drawn from the 26-year-old longitudinal prospective NICHD study of early child care and youth development. As you can see, about 54% were females, about 20% were minority. Most of the participants came from middle-class families, as also indicated by the relatively highly educated mothers. Maternal and paternal sensitivity were derived from direct observations of multiple child-parent interaction tasks throughout the first 15 years of life. Then, at age 18, participants were administered the Attachment Script Assessment, or the ASA, that consists of 4 12-word prompt outlines. And each outline has a title, for example, acne or studying for an exam. Participants are asked to tell the best story that you can about the theme of the title and using only the word prompts. The recording of the ASA then are transcribed verbatim, and each story is coded on a scale from 1, indicating no secure base script content, to 7, indicating extensive secure base script content. Then, at age 26, participants were administered the widely used self-reported Center for Epidemiological Studies depression questionnaires. As we can see here, our results indicate that both maternal sensitivity in the first 15 years of life, indicated here in the solid line, and paternal sensitivity in the first 15 years of life, indicated here in the dashed line, significantly predict the quality of secure base script knowledge at age 18, which in turn significantly predicts self-reported depressive symptoms at age 26. In other words, the more experiences one have of parental sensitivity by both mothers and fathers in the first 15 years of life, the higher quality or the more access one has to secure base script knowledge in late adolescence, which in turn reduces the vulnerability to experiencing depressive symptoms in adulthood. So what may be the takeaways from our study in the context of both attachment theory and in the broader context of clinical interventions? Taken together, our findings support a core premise of attachment theory, according to which the quality of early care, reflected in parents' provision of sensitive care, shapes the development and consolidation of mental representations, which in turn influence mental health. Bowlby posited that failure to form a consistent and satisfying emotional bonds with our caregivers, such as is often the case when a child experiences parental insensitivity for a prolonged period of time, will lead to negative representations of oneself, such as I'm unlovable, and others, such as they're untrustworthy. Now, these negative representations, or what Bowlby termed internal working models, are theorized to then be generalized and ultimately lead to an experience of a relational world that is stressful and thus depressing. The results of our studies support such theoretical view, with secure-based script knowledge being the generalized representation that is influenced by early experiences with one's parents and carries on to influence vulnerability to depressive symptoms later in life. From a clinical perspective, our results suggest that secure-based script knowledge may be identified as a modifiable intervention target to reduce risk for depressive symptoms. Based on our results, and in convergence with related studies, it is plausible to expect that enhancing patients' access to secure-based script knowledge through learning its components and experiencing them in real time with close others, including the therapists, can assist in both soliciting support and being, at least to some degree, soothed when confronting with real-life adversities. Now, the process of secure-based script knowledge adjustment in clinical intervention is, of course, in need of proper investigation. But if secure-based script knowledge indeed proves to be a modifiable intervention target that emphasizes support soliciting rather than simply cognitive maladaptation or specific life difficulties, patients may benefit from a whole area of positive effects that may surpass the mere reduction of depressive symptoms. I want to end by acknowledging Catherine Booth LaForce, Deborah Lowe Vandel, Mariah Blale, and Glenn Roisman for providing the funding for the current research, and for allowing early career researchers like myself to work with the data and present it to you today. I also want to acknowledge and thank the rest of the co-authors, Renata Boisman, Marissa Nivison, Theo Waters, Brian Vaughn, and Kelly Bost. Lastly, I want to thank the past and current researchers who have worked so hard on the NICHD dataset, as well as to the participating families throughout the past 3 decades. Thank you all for stopping by and listening to this presentation. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to meet you in person soon.